Shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. Les Brown said that many, many moons ago. He was one of the forefathers of personal development. And what he was talking about was what we're going to talk about today. Think big. One of my mentors said to me, think big, start small. What did he mean by that? He meant that I want you to think really big. This is a real estate mentor. And he said, I want you to think I want 1,000 doors. But I want you to start small. There's not a big difference between 10 doors and 100 doors in the process of things. That's accurate. I have to secure financing. I have to negotiate the deal. We have to go to title. There's economies of scales that are involved. But 100 doors has a lot more zeros after it than 10 doors does. And what that means is when mistakes are made, and mistakes will be made, on a 100-unit property, there's more zeros added to that mistake than there are on a 10-unit property. So start small, learn the process, get the rhythm, identify what the pitfalls are. If you don't know what you don't know, that's a problem, right? Identify those pitfalls. So start small, an 8-plex, a 10-plex, a 12-plex. Learn the process, get your rhythm, understand what property management really is. Hint, it's not I just go hire a company and I forget about it. That's not what really actually happens in the real estate world. You have to be much more active than I just hire a company. And learn that, because if you don't know that, if you can't identify that, you're going to run into big problems, and those problems have a lot of zeros after it. Everybody's like, if I ask people, you want more money? Yeah, I want more money. Okay. You want 10 times the amount of income you have now? Yes, give me 10 times the amount of income I have. Give me the secret. Well, do you want 10 times the problems, the challenges, the roadblocks? Do you want 10 times the phone calls, the fires? All of a sudden, everybody takes a step back. I don't know about that. So think big, start small. When I sit here and I'm looking at that for my inspiration, what do I do? Like, what's my thought process? That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the things that go on in my mind while I sit here contemplating this wall, and specifically think big. The first thing that comes to mind, the first thing that pops into my mind is I have to drop conventional thinking. I have to allow my imagination to just flourish. How do I allow my imagination to flourish? One of the things I do is I don't put any restraints on my thought process. Everything's on the table. There's nothing that is inappropriate. There's nothing that's wrong. And I will do a brain dump of all of my thoughts. Another way, mastermind. A mastermind, Napoleon Hill introduced mastermind in Think and Grow Rich. He said that when two minds come together, two or more minds come together, right? A third mind is formed. And what he meant by that is, I'll throw something out. This just happened this morning. I was on a call with a very good friend of mine. I threw something out. He threw something out. And now I have a new strategy that I'm going to use moving forward that I have to work on. But what happened was that mastermind is about me throwing my ideas out there. It sparks an idea for whoever else is in the room, and they throw something out, and then somebody else throws something out, and somebody else. And all of a sudden, you have the imagination of all of these people coming together. Look around you. Everything you see, somebody imagined. The chair you're sitting on, the light that illuminates your room, the screen you're watching this on, everything around you was someone's imagination. And at some point in time, somebody thought they were crazy for imagining that. Imagine like back in caveman years, they said, all right, we're going to make a chair, and it's going to have 4 legs, and we're going to be able to sit on it, and we won't have to sit on the ground anymore. Like, that must have been crazy talk back then. Imagine the guy that said, we're going to have the internet. What? Imagine the guy that said, we're going to walk around with a phone in our pocket. Phones used to be tied to the wall. Like, literally hung on the wall with a wire. The receiver had a wire that went to this box. And somebody had to say, wouldn't it be convenient if we could all just have a phone in our pocket? Imagination. Let your mind run wild. Second thing I do when, and I do this much more often than just in thinking big, but I turn off the outside amplification of what society believes. Right? I turn off, I call it like the noise. My mentor calls it the noise, actually. He says, turn the noise off. Take a news diet is how he introduced me to this. And the news diet is 30 days without the news. 30 days eliminating that negativity. That negativity takes way too much brain power up. Stop listening to politicians. This is a big one for me. I despise all politicians. I think they're all liars. I think there's a lot of hypocrites in the political world. I think that they're just all out for themselves. I think politicians just replace politicians with power hungry. That's my personal belief. I don't listen to them. I turn off all of that noise. The stuff that, especially the stuff that's out of my control. Right now we're going through the election. I can't control the election. So I'm not really worried about who is the next president of the United States. I have my opinion of who would be a better president. I have my vote, but I can't really control the outcome of the election, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I'm not going to take brain power away from my imagination and shove it to the things that are going on in the news. Just not going to do it. Number 3, play the what-if game. This is really, really powerful. And one of the... Nike is one of the best examples of this. The what-if game. What if, and then fill in the blank. So in Nike, what if we could get Michael Jordan to sign with us? You have to remember that going back into the 80s, Nike wasn't the basketball shoe. It was Converse. So Nike had to make a power move. Nike had to let their imagination go wild. Let's take over basketball. What if we could take over basketball? What if we could get Michael Jordan? What if we could play the what-if game? What if I could make this happen? What if we could land on the moon? Home Depot said, what if we could take the electrical supply house, the lumber supply house, the plumbing supply house, and put it all under one roof? Love them or hate them, that's imagination. Let your imagination run wild. Play the what-if gift. Take the handcuffs off, the restraints off. Be curious. That's the 4th thing I go through. I am very curious. I ask good questions. I call it ABL, always be learning. I'm always looking to learn. I don't care who you are, what your beliefs are, I'm always looking to look through your eyes. Because if I can look through your eyes, if I can get a glimpse into your world, then I can tie different things together. I talk about this, about how in the firehouse, we come back from a fire and we sit around the kitchen table. And as we sit around the kitchen table, everybody talks about what they did on the fire ground so that everybody can learn from everybody else, because I don't know what's going on the outside of the building when I'm on the inside of the building. Always be learning. Always ask good questions. The perfect example of this is there was someone interviewing Elon Musk. And they were out at whatever, the NASA or I don't know where they were, but the backdrop had NASA in the picture. But this YouTuber asked Musk, I wrote it down, give me 1 second. This is only for the booster. That was the question. They were talking about rocket boosters. And this is only for the booster was the question. And it piqued something in Elon's mind. And Elon said, you know what? Like, Elon started stuttering in the conversation. And he said, we might be able to use this for the spaceship. And then 7 months later, the interviewer goes back to see Elon. And Elon says, it's one of the biggest improvements we made. All from a question. So as you're sitting there, be curious in life. Ask questions of people. Get into their minds. See what they're thinking. And start tying things together. Great journaling prompt coming up right here. This is something else that it fights through people's limiting beliefs. Why not you? Why not you? Like, answer that question. Like, literally that question. So you're gonna create, your imagination's gonna go wild. You're gonna create an idea, and then the little devil's gonna pop up. Bink. This is why you can't do it. You tried that before, it didn't work. Write that down. Why not me? Because I tried it before and it did not work. Why not me? I'm not smart enough. Why not me? I don't know how to, and then fill in the blank. Whatever comes up, why not you? Like, actually answer that question and write down the reasons why not you. Whatever your beliefs are on that question. I can guarantee you that we can negate all of those beliefs. I'm not smart enough. You can go out and get information. You can ask questions. You can do research. You could build your skill set out. You could surround yourself with people that are smart enough. Think Elon? Like, we're talking about Elon. So you think Elon knew everything there was to know about rocket science? No. But he surrounded himself with people that had the answers. Henry Ford's famous for this. They put Henry Ford on trial. He was sitting in a courtroom, and they would ask him questions because they couldn't believe that somebody of his education, he only had like a grade school education. I'm not sure what grade, but he literally said, I don't need to know the information. I need to know how to get the information. And he would pick up a phone and call someone. He would call an engineer. And Henry Ford didn't invent the engine, right? He didn't invent the 8-cylinder engine. His engineers invented the 8-cylinder engine. He knew how to surround himself with people with the answers. So, list out why not you. And then you can negate a lot of those questions. Here is the second part of that step. After you list out why not you, list out why you. Why is this a good idea? Why are you the person to carry this out? What accomplishments have you had in your background? I'm constantly saying to myself, I can't invest in the stock market because I lose money. But there's plenty of times I invested in the stock market and I came out profitable. But in my mind, I have the belief that the stock market's not for me. And here's a bonus one for you. The bonus one is do the math. Everybody's, one of the number one challenges that I help people through is money challenges. Like they say, well, yeah, I got this great idea, but I have no money. Money's created. Money's not made. You don't make money. You create money. Money's grown. And you grow money through creating value. The more value you create, the more money you grow. You don't make money. Get rid of that thought. Think about how, when I sit here, how can I create value? And in creating that value, money then appears. When Amazon went public, there was value created for the public. Hence, money was created. When I buy a real estate, when I buy an apartment building, I go in and I do certain things to that apartment building. I renovate the apartment building, and each project's different. But in doing so, the property is now worth more because the property brings in more cash flow. If I can create the amount of cash flow, either literally increase in rents is one way. I like to reduce expenses because when I increase rents, I'm only increasing my cash flow 70 or 80% because there's additional expenses for that increased revenue. But if I can slice something out of the expense column and I can reduce that expense, if I can negotiate the lawn care contract or the pest control contract or the cable contractor, whatever it is, if I can negotiate my cost down, then that's every dollar I eliminate from the expenses goes straight to my bottom line. So that's creation. I'm creating money. I'm not making money. There's plenty of, when you bring value to the market, you get paid for that value. And that's how it's created. So, will you land on the moon? We started off with Les Brown's quote, shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you're going to land among the stars. Well, will you land on the moon? Will you shoot for the moon and land on the moon? Will you let your imagination go wild? You have it in you. You have the ability. Turn off the noise and let's get to work. Guys, around here, we operate in the numerator, not down in the denominator. Go out there and be unstoppable and absolutely crush your day. I love spending time with you. Have a blessed day.